Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today here we are with another video that is called School Systems in Malaysia. So if you are new, hit that subscribe button and make sure to like this video. So yeah, let's go ahead and start this video. Okay, so basically I just made a small presentation about school systems in Malaysia. The reason why I made this video is because I actually experienced both of them. There is actually two types of school systems. So one is local school and one is international school. The reason why I made this channel is because I experienced both of them as me. So in my whole primary levels, like from level 1 until level 6, I studied in local school, which is Malaysian school. And second one, after my primary school, when I entered high school, I went to international school until the end of my until I finished my IGCSE exams. So I studied 5 years in international school and 6 years in local school. So and I found some pros and cons about them, and also some main differences between these two. So in today's video I'm going to explain you guys main differences between these two schools. So let's go ahead and start. Okay, now main differences between local schools and international schools. Now these are the three states that I found that you have to look at before letting your child, before you are choosing which type of school your child should go, local or international. So first one is price. Now this is the biggest difference between these two. So local schools are always free in Malaysia, so even if you are an international person, you can just give out your child in local schools for free. And international schools are pricey. I mean, you have to pay, and they are usually really expensive compared to the average salaries in Malaysia. Yeah, second one is size. Oh my god, guys, this is the one. This is also one of the biggest difference that I found. Okay, local schools are actually really big. They contain from about 500 students in one school up to 700 students in just one school. And when it comes to international school, you can barely even find 300 students. And by the way, when I say in local schools there is between 500 and 700, I'm just talking about primary schools. Okay, if you mix like one school's primary and secondary, both of them will be, I think, more than 1000 students, probably more than 1000 students. And in international school, if you mix both of them, you can even barely find 300 students. Okay, so in the place that I studied, in the international school I studied, there was so less students, and it was like way better than local schools. Like, you know, for example, it was so easy to identify your friends, like, you know, to find friends. And you know, also the education, since there is like so less students in one class, it's really easy for you to learn more. You know, we know, like adults say, when there is less students, it's always better for a student to study, because the environment will be quiet, and yeah, it will be better. So yeah, I recommend international school. I mean, in my experience, I experienced that international schools are better. So third is education and examination system. Now the reason why there is the difference between price, local schools and international school, I found out that educational and examination systems are way two different things. Local schools, they are only Malaysian. Okay, Malaysian education system. So it's basically like this, like all the lessons in Malay, I'm talking about local schools here. All the lessons it will be in Malay except English. Okay, so English it will just teach like basic English, and once you finish high school with the degree that you are holding, that you finished your school, I don't think that if you're holding a Malaysian education system degree, I don't think that when you go to different country, for example, from Malaysia you want to go to Canada and study over there, I don't think they will accept it because it's not it's local school examination systems or education systems, they are not meant to be for the whole world. Okay, I mean all the countries, it's meant for only Malaysia. That's why it's called local schools. So if it's mainly the reason they made purpose of it is to make Malaysian kids better in the future. So with the degree that you're holding of finishing local schools, you can find a really good job, and you can go to good universities if your marks are good in Malaysia. Okay, so I don't if you're an international person, I don't recommend you to end your school in local schools. And when it comes to international schools, there are just so many types of international schools. Like for example, there is Oxford examination or education system, there is also Cambridge education system, there is also American, British, and there's so many. But for me, I went to Cambridge education system, and I successfully finished my IGCSE Cambridge exams. And now that I'm free, I think I can more focus on traveling, making like vlogs and stuff, since it's always been my dream to make like this kind of channel, but I never got the time because I've been studying so hard for the past 2 years for just this IGCSE examination system, and I'm so happy that I finally finished it. And yeah, I'm free now. So yeah, these three are the main differences. Now let's go ahead for pros and cons of local schools. Okay. Now, advantages of local school. Let's start with the advantages. So first, main advantages are they are free. Okay, yeah, what to expect? It's an advantage for everyone. Like, come on, and would you rather pick something that is really expensive or just free? Of course, people will choose free, but there is also a lot disadvantages for international people. So guys, one more thing that I really want you guys to know. This whole presentation is fully 100% made for international people. What I mean here, I don't mean that local people they can't watch this, but this is based on international person's experience. So I'm an international person, I'm not Malay. So this all information are based on my experience and what as an international person, what I think that advantages and disadvantages of local schools and international schools. So yeah, okay, so if you're in local school, don't find don't comment below like, oh my god, you're just making local schools look bad and you're making international schools good. Well, I'm not against any of them, it's just up to you, but this is based on my opinion. Okay, so the second advantage is international peoples are allowed to study in local schools. So what I mean here by is even if you're non-Malaysian, Malaysia still allows international people to actually study in local schools, so for free. Okay, but it will be harder for you to find public schools than Malaysians. So if you're an international person and you're looking for public schools, it will be harder for you compared to citizens in Malaysia. because like most of the times, for example, let's say there is a space in level 1. For example, your child is still in level 1 and there is between two, your child, which is international, and if there is also one citizen child, they will of course choose the citizen child, and you have to go look for another public school. That's what I meant. Now, disadvantages. Okay, so first one, it's extremely big. As I said earlier, it's really big. It contains usually public schools, they usually contain at least, in just primary school, by the way, not mixed, in just primary school there is at least from 500 students up to 700 students. Now with this, what I mean by is every class every class there are just too many students, and it's just so noisy, and it's so hard for your kids to learn with a really large crowd, and with just one teacher controlling over 30 students. Like, come on, that's almost literally impossible. So yeah, that's what I found the disadvantage of learning. So number 2, okay, this is what I experienced the most. Okay, if you are not Malaysian, it's really hard to make friends. Oh my god, guys, I used to get bullied, like literally, for not being Malaysian. Okay, you see, when you go to a crowded place like 500 to 700 students, and you will be like the only one that's like white. Okay, so I'm not being racist or anything here, but I came from a really white country. I mean, in Central Asia, most of the people, they are really white like me, but I really play football a lot, so with that I got darker and darker skin. But when I first came to Malaysia, I was extremely white, and I was really white, and I used to be like, whenever we are in like meeting or something, like the whole school will be looking at me, like they will just like yeah, they will just differentiate between Malaysians and non-Malaysians. So that's what I experienced, and most of the times Malaysian kids, they don't like to be friends with non-Malaysians. I don't know why. They actually, I used to get bullied a lot because of that, but of course it's all in the past now. Let's move on. So 3, it's really hard to find public schools or local schools for non-Malaysians. As I said earlier, in the advantage part, it will be harder for you for if you are an international person to find public or local schools, so which is a disadvantage at one point. So the 4th is the studying system is bad. So as I said, international schools are all contained of like British, American, Cambridge, Oxford. These school international types, they go to around the world. Like, if you have the degree of those international schools, you are allowed to study or get work anywhere in the world. But if you studied in local school in Malaysia, it's really hard. Okay, it's not impossible, but it's really hard for universities outside Malaysia to accept you and let you study or even find jobs in other countries. Okay, so these are the pros and cons. Now let's continue to international schools. Okay, pros and cons of international schools. 1. Advantages. The education systems are always applicable to any universities in the world, usually Cambridge and Oxford systems. Now, as I said earlier, international school education systems are capable for any part of the world, and most of the times in most of the international schools in Malaysia, most of them are contained with Cambridge or Oxford examination systems. Number 2, more easier to understand in classes since it's small. So as I said, okay, So here I meant compared to public schools, there are so way less people in international schools. Like they contain around 300 students, I think, for the whole school, by the way. In public schools, just in primary school, you will find more than 500 students, but in international school, if you mix high school and primary school, if you mix both of them, you will find around 300 students. So, and there are so less kids in each class, so it's so easy for you to make friends, for example, and to understand your teacher better, and it's easier for teachers. They can teach peacefully, it's easier to control for them. And yeah, now disadvantages, they are usually really expensive. So I think I made a around calculation actually before this. So the average salaries in Malaysia is actually from 5,000 ringgit up to 7,000 ringgit, okay? And usually international schools, like international school, the cheapest international school you can find in Malaysia is called Al Nur International School. So Al Nur International School is basically around starts from 3,000 ringgit per semester. One semester is 3 months, and there's 3 semesters each year for one level. Okay, so each semester it starts from 3,000 ringgit, which is still good price, and we are talking about the cheapest international schools here. The most expensive international school goes up to 58,000 ringgit per semester. What I mean here is for level 1. So the higher level your child is going to, the more you have to pay. Okay, so yeah, they're compared to the average salaries, they are expensive. Oh, wait, what? Okay, number 2, sometimes they can be really small. Okay, opening an international school is already like a type of business for many international people. They just come to Malaysia. If they have enough money, they just open up international schools for fun. Yeah. And it is allowed for non-Malaysian people to open a business of education. So school is also an education type, so they are actually allowed to get a proper business license and open up international school. And sometimes they are super annoying, guys. Like, I seen so many international schools, they are just made out in like a building. Okay, in like a building, for example, 3rd and 4th floor, they made it international school. Like, what the hell, guys? Like, it's so bad. The kids, they want that, like, you can barely find a kitchen. I even went one day for my friend's open day in their school. I went there, and you can't imagine, like, I was so stuck up. I can't even imagine how these kids, they are staying there for more than 8 hours of studying in, like, just one class, sitting down there. Like, at least my school, they had like a really large garden, they had a pool and stuff. But for those international schools that are like made inside a building, like, just imagine, like, they don't even have a garden inside them. Like, students can't even walk around. It's basically like a tuition centers. Yeah, so that's the main disadvantage I found. And yep. Okay, so I think that's all for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And guys, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. It would mean the world to me, since we are just opening. So tomorrow I think I will make one more content. I think I'm going to vlog tomorrow, so I'm absolutely free. I got nothing to do. and yeah, I have to plan out some stuff, where to go and stuff. So if you guys have any suggestion of like videos like this kind of video. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, uh not all the videos are going to be like this, like screen recording and stuff. Today's video was just like I couldn't go anywhere because my parents weren't home, so in my free time I just made this presentation and show you guys this. So from tomorrow onwards I think I will go on and continue vlogging. But if you guys have any suggestion on videos like this, I'm totally okay with it. And if you guys have any question related to about Malaysian school systems, ask me in the comment section below. And yep, it's been